Hi. So, have you ever had an idea that was so ridiculous, so nonsensical, that once you told the people around you, they looked at you like you were crazy? They looked as if you were smoking something you shouldn't. They looked as if you had taken some type of drug or something to make you act loopy and that whatever you were on needs to be off. I had one of those recently. So, if you play Cardfight Vanguard, you should be aware that there's a new Chronojet deck coming out called the Chrono Icon. A lot of people are excited, others not so much. It's a mixed bag. Now, you may be wondering, what the hell is a Chrono Icon featuring Omnia? Well, you might not know, but a while ago, after the reveal of the Chrono Icon, someone made a very funny point. The Chrono Icon Chronojet doesn't use a crest. Instead, while your Vanguard is the Chrono Icon Chronojet, you just have the ability to stride. This means that many decks in dark states can now just stride. If you make Chronojet Dragon your starting Vanguard. So that got some people thinking, what if I mixed Chronojet Dragon with Omnia Grugio? The answer may surprise you. Now, but before we start, the list I'm about to make is by far not the best. It is just a random hodgepodge, cluster, gobbledygook, mix and match thing that I could make. So if you have your own version, please let me know in the comments. 100%. Just do it. Just put it in the comments. Just go for it. Now, I'm going to make a very generic build. And while I make it, I'm going to kind of explain the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts, right? And kind of have the deck, functions in a way. So, before we do anything, we need to start with our ride line. Now, our ride line is, we first need Chronodran, but you need the correct Chronodran. It's hard to see. 1 second. Get this one right here. It's a little bit hard to see. But that's the one you need. So you add them to your ride deck, if I can do that. No, let me just add to the main deck then. And then move him to the ride. There we go. So, Chrono around with the icon. Now, what's next? Well, next is Mazer Gear. The new one, Mazer Gear. Now, if you want to play this with your friends, by all means, go ahead. I don't think it's gonna really win anything, but if it makes you happy, more power to you, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you. If you wanna do some shenanigans, that's 100% you, buddy. I'm not gonna stop you. You wanna destroy your friend group? Have at it. Though this deck I don't think is gonna irritate some people. It might get on the nerves of the Chronojet fans, because I do know 2 people who play Chronojet in real life, and they were not very happy with this. And the one Omina Grugio player I also know also didn't like this. I do find it funny, though, that I also played Omina Grugio, and I thought this was pretty funny. Omina Grugio has been in a in a very fun slump as of recent. So anything to make that deck hilariously fun, 100% I'm on board with. So let me put the ride line together and then kind of explain what happens here. Chronojet. So we need Chronojet Dragon. Now, let's explain what's going on. Because I guarantee some of you need an explanation. So, this is the ride line. Your ride line is Chrono Duran, Mazer Gear, Smoke Gear, and Chronojet Dragon. Now, Chronojet Dragon Chrono icon is what gives us the ability to stride without the crest. His very first ability is, as long as you get the energy generator and you have no other crests, you get stride. Yay! Oh yeah, you can stride. You can stride. Hooray for breaking the rules. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Kat, so there's Chronojet. How does Omina Grugio come into play? And we're getting there. We're getting there. But first, let me explain the ride line. So Chrono Duran, typical guy. He has the icon, most important thing. Mazer Gear. When you ride on top of a grade 0 with the Chrono icon, you can reveal a grade 3 from your ride deck with the Chrono icon. Draw 2 cards. And then send a card from your hand back. Now, you may be wondering how this is good. And let me explain. You ever draw your over trigger at the start of the game? Now you're seeing it. You send that puppy back. Yeah. In all seriousness, though, it does help get cards you don't need out of your hand while also getting cards that you do need into your hand. Its secondary effect is the reason why we're only playing one. And the second effect is that if it's in your drop zone, if your opponent's at grade 3 and you have a Chrono icon Vanguard, you can essentially you can return this card back to your ride deck face up. And if you do, you bot deck one card on your board to call a card that's 1 grade higher. Now, what this means is you can call your grade 0 heal or over trigger from hand and then just bot deck it to call a grade 1. Or you can bot deck specific loop cards that you rather have in other places. Yeah, we're getting there. Smoke Gear is generic. Soul Blast 1, add any grade 3 to your hand. That's a spicy meatball right there. And then Chronojet, when you stride, you can bot deck something. If you can't, you draw a card. That's its normal on stride skill. Its GB2 skill is when it attacks, it gains 5k, and your opponent can't guard with grade 1s or higher. It's just generic. But its continuous Vanguard skill is pretty funny. Other than giving you stride, it gives your front row 10k if you have 3 cards face up in your G zone. So the plan for this deck isn't really what you'd expect. It's actually more of we're going to kind of drag out the fight with Chronojet and then just Omina Grugio your opponent to death. There we go. There you go. I can talk. So let's go ahead and get into the combo of this deck. So this combo, I didn't find. Someone on Reddit posted it, and everyone thought they were crazy because this stuff shouldn't work together. But I'm making this now, so if anyone from Bushiroad sees this, they can quickly go, wait a minute. That's not right. I'm sorry, something's in the background cooking. Oh. Yep, something cooked in the background. All right, so let's quickly go through this. The combo comes from Shadow Thorn. Now, this is a card called Shadow Thorn Mage. Now, Shadow Thorn Mage is a pretty funny card. So let me explain. If your Vanguard is Omnino Grigio, you get two very fun effects. The first effect is that when this card is placed, you check top 5, you put one into soul, then you call a card from your soul to board. Right? That's just when this card's placed. You do that for an Energy Blast 3. Pretty cool. Its second effect is that it's treated as 2 when you suck it into soul for the effect of Omnino Grigio. So it just helps you build a board. Right? Now, you may be wondering, Kat, that's just generic Omnino Grigio support. I don't see how this makes the Chronojet Omnino Grigio deck playable. Well, you know what upstream is? So, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this is upstream. One second. This is upstream. So upstream, that's in English also, so you can read that for yourself, but I'll also read it. After it attacks a Vanguard, it gains 5k. Then you put it to the bottom of your deck, and you call a grade 1 to your back row. So, Chronojet gives you GB1. Well, multiple GB. Then when your opponent's sitting at 4 or 5 damage, you kind of go, all right, Omnino Grigio time. You go into Omnino Grigio, you call an upstream. Upstream attacks. Bot decks that call the Shadowthorn Mage. Checks top 5. You want to put another upstream into soul to call out upstream. Then have the Vanguard swing to suck up the current Shadowthorn Mage that's there. Have the upstream attack to recall another Shadowthorn Mage. Shadowthorn Mage checks top 5, and then you go from there. The combo ends when you run out of Shadowthorn Mage because there's not really many ways to send them from soul back to deck. I'm still looking. If you can find a way that does it, please put it in chat because that would be funny. That would be very funny. Just put it in the comments. Just put it in the comments because that would be hilarious. That's just cursed at that point. Just actually cursed. Now, another card that makes this deck go hilariously stupid is Steam Breath. Now, when I first saw this card, my original thought was, oh, that's cool. Yeah, there was a funny little hidden thing here. You see, its on play effect, if you have the Chrono icon, is you check top 7 for any grade 3. You see where the Omnino Grigio is coming in? Because you can add any grade 3 from top 7. You can add any grade 3 from top 7. You can add any grade 3 from top 7. So, again, the game plan is you sit on Chronojet. You sit on this guy. You don't get off him. You sit on him, and then when your opponent's like 4 or 5 damage, then you kind of go, their hand's pretty small. I got this, and you Omnino Grigio. Now, a lot of people understand that this is the combo is upstream and the Shadowthorn Mage. You use the Steam Breath to grab out your pieces, but the hard part, realistically, is building the core, building the actual deck. Because A, you need to see all your pieces. B, you gotta get Mazer Gear out of your soul. And you gotta be able to send the Shadowthorn Mage back to deck so that you can use it. Realistically, you want to have all 4 copies of Shadowthorn Mage at the bottom of your deck. The reason why is because, he will play them from deck. And then you mage to check top 5. That's the reason. So you need a way to get your Shadowthorn Mage back to deck without, using up your energy. Because that's not infinite. You only got max 10 energy and you're using it all in one turn. Realistically, this thing procs 3 times and that's it. Your kill turn, this thing procs 3 times and that's it. That's the game. So you need to be able to get it. You know, get it to be playable. So that's why you gotta run Gear Parrot. Now, Gear Parrot of Eternal Glory is a very fun card. Now, this is when it's placed. You can choose one normal unit without Sentinel from your drop or your bind zone and just bot deck it. And then you get to get 5k, right? That's cool. You're not really using it for the secondary effect. You're just using it for the on-play bot deck something and call it a day. And that's pretty much your grade 1s. Gear Parrot is only usable for the first half of the game. So don't feel bad if you lose all your Gear Parrot. They exist to send the Shadowthorn Mage back to deck. That's it. Once Parrot has done its job, you don't need to worry about it anymore. It's kind of that simple. Parrot sends the Thorn. Thorn Mage says thank you. Parrot goes, I'm gonna head out, and then we don't care about him anymore. Now, for your other grade 2s, this is where things get a bit shaky, mistakey. It's hard to narrow down what you need. So, reasonably, I like Flauros because Flauros will put any card from your drop zone into your soul. What this means is if you ever lose the upstream, you can just call Flauros. Flauros attacks, throw upstream into soul. If your opponent's at grade 3, you get something extra. It's kind of that simple. There is nothing else to think about. Yep, that's really it. Because Shadowthorn Mage likes to check top 5, put one in, then call something out, there are many opportunities for you to, what's the word? Whiff. So, yeah, just put it in there. Just put it in there. Not leaving you the chance. Just put it in there. Just put it right in there. Now, another fun thing you can do is this is a card that I think works pretty well, though you might say maybe not. I'm gonna say yeah, go for it. This card right here, Black Sky Thunder. Add to main deck. Now, what does Black Sky Thunder do? Nothing. It's just a ride fixer. You Soul Blast one, it gets the thing out. It literally exists to get the Mazer Gear out of Soul and draw you a card. That's really it. I mean, you can plus. You can get a lot of draw off pretty quickly. Its secondary effect for the when you Persona ride, which is going to be very helpful when you go into Mask on the Grugio late game. It is helpful. The secondary effect is very helpful. I'm not going to disagree. That card is crazy good. Just for the on Persona ride, counterblast one. You choose a card from your soul, call it to rear, and then you may soul charge. That will also help you get out your Shadowthorn Mage, who will then check top 5 to get out your upstream dragon, who will then loop back into your deck to call out your Shadowthorn Mage, who will then check top 5 to hopefully hit a upstream. So you see where we're going? You see where we're going. The name of the game is to thin your deck to the point where it's mainly just Shadowthorn and upstream and some triggers, and then just loop 2 cards. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't work, that's life. But hopefully it works. It's a very finicky combo. I think it's hilarious. You might think it is dumb and stupid. And that's fair. Now, before we move on, we do need perfect guards. Steam, is it Alrum? I have no idea what her name is. Steam Fighter Al. no, 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 no. I think, is it Steam Maiden? Ah, Steam Maiden. M-A-I-D. Maiden. Steam Maiden. There you are. Yep. Add to. Your perfect guard doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you. I just think, keeping with the theme. But that's me. You can do whatever you want. But you do need Elementaria. Elementaria. You do need an Elementaria. That is non-negotiable. That is, I'm a level with you. You're about to see Bastion levels of grade 3s that you really don't ever want to see. Pretty bad. Now, thankfully, Smoke Gear adds any grade 3 from deck to hand. Now, what you need is gonna be quite ridiculous. So, first and foremost, you need Omina Grugio. I'm gonna type in Omnia and call it a day. Now, Omnia Grugio, you do need in your deck. So, do you need it at 4? Absolutely not. You can get away with 2. The point is you want to essentially add it to hand because you're trying to end the game on the Omnino Grugio turn. You're not trying to sit there too long. Game needs to end then. Because of this, if you run 2, you're guaranteed to see it. If you want to run 1, you can because, Smoke Gear will grab it. So it's not an issue really. The next card you want to run is, and we're gonna go back and we're gonna like shrink some of the ratios down. I'm just grabbing everything currently. The next thing you want to run is the Omnino Grugio Mask. Add to main deck. Now, this card is how you kind of end the game. You need to kind of see this. If there's anything you see in this deck, it needs to be this card and this card. If you want to do it once, you totally can. Like that's not a bad thing. This is just an optional way to end the game. And that's cool. This doesn't have to be your whole bread and butter. It's 100% up to you. You do need Mask of Hydreigon. Now, add to main deck. Now, here is the issue now with the ratios. Now, as you can see, we're at 34 cards, which means we gotta kind of play around with this because we do need to run Chronojet Dragon in the main deck. So, what I think is kind of sort of helpful, kind of sort of what you can do. You don't have to follow this exactly, but what I've seen some people like to say is 2 is safe, but if you're just going to play Chronojet until the end of the game, it might be easier for you to just make him all ones. Because you can grab it through the effect of Smoke Gear, as well as spamming Steam Breath to check top 7 for a grade 3, it's not that bad. Granted, you also could, now this is going to sound absolutely dumb, you could also just drop the amount of Gear Parrot you're running. He stops being useful after like a certain point in the game. But if you want to have something to fall back on, because you're not locked into Chronojet, you are not locked into forcibly going to Omnino Grugio. This is just an optional way to end the game at 5 damage. This is just my opponent's at 5 damage. I want to do something silly. I ride Omnino Grugio. I go into evil Omnino Grugio thanks to Mask of Hydreigon, and because I Persona Ride, this goes off, and now I blah, 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 blah. It's optional. Realistically, you would never mix these things, but we can and we will. Realistically, you should not mix these things, but we can and we will. So, personally, what I think is pretty good to run is this. So what I'm going to suggest you try to do, Gear Parrot, while it is helpful to constantly send your Shadowthorn mages back to deck, which is very helpful, running this bad boy at a solid 4 of does grant you an opportunity to see it, but you don't really need to run it at that amount. This is the perfect guard you need, so I'm not touching that. These two cards help you loop your upstream, which is helpful. You need this to search. You need this for your combo. Gear Parrot sends the mage, but he's also kind of expensive. You don't need to run a lot of Gear Parrot. We're going to double back a little bit later. But real quick, I'm going to show you the card that you want to run in your main deck. Chronojet Dragon, and it needs to be this one. Now, the reason why you are running another Chronojet Dragon in your deck is because of the stride. Granted, you're only running one. You're not running more than one. Why? Well, you're only using one stride. You're only using next stage once, and then you're going straight into something else. Or you're using Fate Rider once, then you're going straight into that. Realistically, you're not going to be put in a situation where you're going to need more than one. The goal of the deck is to Chrono icon the game, get to your opponent to 4 or 5 damage, and then immediately go into this thing to end the game. You're not doing anything more than that. So 1 Chronojet, and you're fine. At this point, you have some options. Now, 2 Mask of Hydrogrim just means that you have other grade 3s that can search. I'm going to drop Gear Parrot by 1 simply because I need to do that. And I think I'll drop it again by another 1 just because I want to see certain cards. Now, Gear Parrot is good. Absolutely. It sends the cards back. But you also need other ways to do things. Now, what you also could do is drop that by 1, drop that by 1, and then increase the amounts of this and this by 1, and that just kind of fixes your issue. 3 Black Sky Thunder literally just means that you're not really doing much. Your main combo is upstream. As long as you're seeing the upstream, you're fine. You're good to go. The reason why we're running these at the amount we need to is because we need to see this so that late game we can do this. Granted, you physically, again, could just run each of these at 1. You really could, and you get away with it scot-free. But me personally, I feel like the 3 is safe. Again, we're trying to close the game on Omina Grugio. So I don't mind like getting 2 extra to discard for stride fodder, or like 2 extra to discard for stride fodder, and then just like go into it. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And because running so many grade 3s, this has a higher chance to hit. Now again, and I'm going to keep saying this because I guarantee someone's going to ignore this. You don't have to follow this recipe. You can do 1, 1, and 1. I'm not a madman, so I'm not going to do it. But if you really want to, you can do 1, 1, and 1. All right, so now that I've explained that several times, we're going to go into the trigger lineup for this deck. And the trigger lineup is pretty normal. You don't need stem deviate. You don't need stem deviate. You just need 4 criticals Where's Riley? You need 4 draws. I like the 4 draws because they help. You need 3 front. Your 3 front are the Soul Front, Strange Noise of Ruin, Mal. Yeah. You need 4 heals. Again, you can do anything you want for the trigger ratios. I'm doing Rainbow simply because if you do Rainbow, you're safe. Granted, the whole point of the deck, again, is to Chronojet until your opponent is at 4 or 5 damage. I can't stress this enough. Because someone, I guarantee it, is going to find this video and go, the goal is to go into the soonest, but no. The goal is to sit on Chronojet and hold on to one of these. One of each. The reason why we're running this many is so that we see it and we have stride fodder. That's really it. That's really it. The last thing you run is Spiritual King of Ignition. Now, you may be wondering, why are we running Spiritual King of Ignition? Wouldn't the Blue OT or Dark States OT make more sense? Yes. Yes, it does. But the reason why we're running Red OT is simply we get 1 more attack. There are going to be many times when you will not have a Steam, you won't have a card in your drop zone or a card in your soul to call out using the effect of Shadowthorn Mage. That happens a lot. Sometimes you whiff it, sometimes you don't see it. Red OT essentially just helps you call a card out, draw a card and call a card, and if you really want, get multi-attack. Let's say you only have the 1 upstream and 2 are in drop zone. Okay, I target Flaros. Flaros will target the 2 in drop zone twice, put him into soul. So, after upstream attacks and bounces goes into this guy, it will recall out the upstream. There you go. Red OT just kind of puts things on the board for you to use later. Realistically, you could use purple. You could use Dark States. It realistically is up to you. I think red is a little bit better simply because there are times when you want to get certain cards from drop into soul. And Flowers is once per turn. Flowers is once per turn. But you can draw and call a card. That extra dig is pretty helpful. Now, you could use purple to put something from damage into hand and call. You don't have to if you don't want to. Personally, I like this because it attacks Sling the Soul. If I hit Red OT, I can draw a new card and call a new card. The deck thinning is the most important part. That's really it. That's really it. You can call a Flauros on top of a Flauros, which is really helpful. Just drawing is important. Drawing is very important. Now, you could run blue, because blue will put any card from drop back in your hand, which is really nice. So that's 100% up to you. Again, this is not a 100% fully like locked deck build made deck. This is just a fun, silly deck you can build and, screw with your friends with. It's not designed to go hard crazy. So again, me personally, well, not just so I can get another draw, and that other draw can either give me this or give me this. That's really, or on super good occasions, give me this. Heck, if we Persona ride, it gives me this. And that's not bad. So again, Red OT, again, it's just a me thing, me personally. Your G zone, however, is flexible. You can do whatever you want. But what I like to do is Fate Rider. Okay, you use Fate Rider from the Crest set. Okay. Now, what does Fate Rider Dragon do? Well, let's take a look. Hold on a second. It's being funny. That's the wrong Fate Rider. Well, Fate Rider, all it does is when it attacks, you CB1, and then you get to you get the Time Leap a card. Target one of your cards, bot deck it, call a different grade card. Now, you're really just using this to, let's say you have two of these in your hand, so you call out one as a blank grade 1, and then you get rid of it. It's really it. It's just really it. It's nothing else. Because you can only stride if your Vanguard is Chronojet, you want your opponent to think you're going to be striding the entire game. So you are running a full 16 card G zone. We are going to play this. The new next stage. Now, how does new next stage work? You counterblast one, discard one. And after it attacks, you turn up a copy of itself face up, and then you stand your Chronojet Vanguard, and then you can bind a Chronojet from drop to get one more drive, right? It enables GB2, so your guy says no grade 1s, 5k, blah, blah, blah. Its other effect is if you have 3 cards face up in your G zone, instead of 1 drive, you get 2 drives. As long as you bind the Chronojet. So, realistically, your first stride is Fate Rider. Your second stride is Next Stage. That will give you 4 cards face up in the G zone, and then you can Mystery Flare. Now, Mystery Flare is pretty funny. He's also in your G zone. So you turn up a card in your G zone face up, your front row gets 5k, one of your cards can attack twice. And then end of the turn, you just get a brand new turn, you just can't stride. Now, the thing with this card that I find very fun is that you just kind of get a brand new turn. It's really it. It's fun. I like skipping my opponent's turn. They don't deserve it. They've been bad. But that only works if you have 5 cards in your G zone face up, which you will if you Fate Rider, Next Stage, and then this guy, which you will. So you discard 4 cards of different grades, you get an additional turn, but during the additional turn, you skip your ride phase and you cannot stride. So you're just on Chronojet. It's not bad because, again, your front row gains 10k, and, he says your opponent can't do certain things. It's really, really it. It's really it. Now, the last card you are running in your G zone is actually kind of lame. Sorry to say it, but it's really lame. You're just playing this. The reason why you're playing this is flip fodder. Specifically for Fate Rider. Fate Rider flips up one of these. The goal is to make your opponent think they are fighting a Chronojet deck, realistically. You make them think they're fighting Chronojet. Then you kind of just punish them for making them think they're fighting Chronojet. It's really that easy. Now, again, what you, could do to make it seem like your opponent really is fighting Chronojet and you have no ulterior motives, you could, again, decrease the amount of Omino Grugios you choose to run. That's not a bad thing. That's 100% up to you. There is no right or wrong answer here. I prefer having multiple copies so that I can see my card. But if you do wanna, surprise your opponent, if you wanna scare them a bit or be a little bit silly or wacky, you could you could decrease the amount. If you choose to decrease the amount, what I would say is the most important card that you need. the most important card that you need to see is base Omnino Grigio, followed by Omnino Grigio Mask. Mask of Hydrogrim is just discard fodder. You get that, that thing goes away for that thing goes away for Stride. Just get rid of it. Card's lame. You can run more Chronojet. It's not bad if you want to run more. It's entirely up to you. Personally, 9 grade 3s is good in this deck. Simply because Steam Breath will thin your deck pretty fine. As long as your grade 3s help you reach your end goal of winning the game, you're good to go. And don't forget, Steam Breath grabs any grade 3. So you, again, can drop these down by 1 or 2. Go to 1. You're good to go. I feel like let's drop these down by 1 for our little test combo we'll do, and we'll see where that goes. We got to throw in 2 more spots. Throwing in 2 more Chronojet to make the opponent assume we are playing Chronojet is not a bad idea. We want them to have a false sense of security so that you can punish them for assuming they were playing against a normal person. You clearly are not normal if you're watching this. So that's kind of the list. So if we go to a solo game, right? So let's grab this real quick. Grab this. So you draw your 5 cards for turn. Draw 5. Now, as you can see, this is absolutely terrible. But we have 2 cards we do need. You do not want to get rid of these once you see them. So if you get 1 Omnino Grigio, just leave it in there. It's not bad. It's not gonna hurt you. Thanks to Mazer Gear also, you're pretty safe. Nice. All right. So you'd shuffle your deck. And then you'd kind of just go from here. So your first turn, let's say you went first. It doesn't really matter anymore. So let's say you go first, right? So you draw for turn. Okay, that's really good. So we don't need to worry about much for later. What you can do is, we don't need this right now, so we can discard it. And you go into your grade 1. Right? Go into your grade 1. Now, the grade 0, if you went second, you'll draw a card. If not, that's life. Let's say we went second. So we draw off of the Chronoran. And then the effect of Mazer Gear, we draw 2 more cards. And then we send back 1. So let's go ahead and send back something we don't need at the current moment in time. Parrot's helpful. Let's keep the parrot in our hand for right now. Let's go ahead and just send back this guy. Why not? Send to bot deck. Then you just Vanguard swing and do your drive. Wowzers! We got a grade 1 that actually hurts us. Ghost Ran. Next turn, we just take some damage. Ooh, draw trigger. We draw a card. That's not good to see. So let's say we draw for turn. All right. What we can do here, because we have a way to send certain cards back to deck, what we will do is we will discard this. And oops. Go right into our Smoke Breath. Now, Smoke Breath skill will Soul Blast this to add a grade 3 from our deck to our hand. We have the mask. We have Omnino Grigios. So we just go ahead and we add to our hand Chronojet. Chronojet is now in hand. Hi, Chronojet. Shuffle the deck. Now, we do have a Gear Dragon Vanguard, so what we can do is we can call Gear Parrot. And then Gear Parrot's effect, you just bot deck this. Let me double check the Gear Parrot. Double check in the Gear Parrot. Yeah, if you have a Gear Dragon Vanguard, you'll be following. So you send this to bot deck. Woohoo, we can use that later. Nice. Then you can go ahead and just call out one of these bad boys so that you can put your guy into soul later. So, Vanguard swings, you do your drive. Hiya. Ooh, a draw trigger. That's extremely helpful. You draw a card. Get the power to your Flauros. This will attack. Skill, you put a card from your drop zone into soul. I'm going to put this for this secret Mauska tool for later. And that's it. Next turn, you just eat some more damage. Ow. Oh, dude, that hurts so bad. If you can guard something, you can guard something. Cool, go for it. Next turn, you just draw for turn. Discard to ride up. Go into your Chronojet. If you choose to discard the Black Sky Thunder, all you do at this point is you just send this to bot deck, draw a card, and Soul Blast 1. Bot deck, Soul Blast and don't Soul Blast out the upstream. Please don't. And anything besides the upstream. Once that's in your soul, you don't worry about it. Draw for turn. You just draw for defect now. Now, we are at grade 3. So, Mazer Gear, if our opponent's at grade 3, which they should be, if you went second, they'll be at grade 3, you can Mazer Gear here. So first you ride, then you stride. Best thing to stride into, just discard the Chronojet to stride into Fate Rider. You would also have about 9 energy at this point. Going to Fate Rider. Fate Rider is pretty helpful for later. If your opponent had a rear guard, bot deck. If they didn't, you'd draw a card. Cool. Next, we want to get this out of our hand, so we'd call it, and then we'd show our opponent our lovely Mazer Gear, and we'd send it back to the ride deck. So you go back to ride zone. This card goes to the bottom of our deck, and then we get to play a grade 2. Realistically, any grade 2 you want to play here is fine. Realistically, you don't. There's no real important thing you have to do at this point. You can just kind of go grab any grade 2. Fate Rider is gonna time leap something. You don't need to stress. You physically don't need to stress. What I do think you should do though is definitely call out one of these just for the counterblast one. You want to flip down your triggers so that you can bind them later. Check top 7 for a grade 3. If you hit it, nice. If you don't hit it, that's life. Hey, I hit mine. You might not hit yours. Don't if you don't hit it, you don't hit it. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Shuffle. Shuffle. Now my Mask Item is a dead card in my hand, so it's PG fodder or whatever I really want to do with it. Doesn't really matter at this point. We have one Omina Grugio. We have the mask. We hold on to these cards now. We're good. So we just go attack, skill, put something from drop into soul. Let's go ahead and put this card back out here. Why not? No skin off. No, it doesn't hurt you down. It doesn't hurt you to do that. This bad boy attacks. You time leap something. So this would go face down. You would send this card to bot deck. And you call out a grade 3. Well, there's only one other grade 3 to call out at this point. That's right. You know him. You love him. Omina Grugio. You don't have to do it. The moment you call that out, your opponent will know without beyond a shadow of a doubt what you're trying to do. They will immediately see what you are trying to do. So reasonably, you grab the Chronojet. I did that just for funnies. Reasonably, you grab the Chronojet. Reasonably, you grab the Chronojet. You shuffle your deck. Just grab the Chronojet. That's the reasonable answer. Gains 5k, you do your triple drive. Be sure to shuffle from, the Fate Rider. First, oh, that card does not help me. Second, oh, that's not good. Third, yeah, we are not. We are now in a pretty bad spot. If you didn't hit those, you're good. So essentially, how the game state will go is you'll go back and forth. You'll stride, you won't stride, you'll send stuff back. But reasonably, what your end board will look like for the combo should be something like this. This would be in your drop zone after some time. Towards the end of the game, you should have this on your Vanguard circle. You should be on Omina Grigio. You'll Soul Blast one. You'll bind a trigger. You will go into the mask using the mask from your drop zone, because later in the game. Once there, you should have 2 triggers ready to go. A crit and a heal, a draw and a crit. Bind a crit in something else. If you have OT in there, your opponent's cooked. Now, to show you kind of how the combo looks, let me go into that real quick. So, what the combo should look like is you'll have a upstream here, and then whatever else you want to have on your board, it doesn't really matter. This is kind of a dead card at this point. He's not really helping you. So you'd bind 2 triggers. So let's say you bound let's say best case scenario. Let's say you bound your OT. And let's say you bound a heal trigger. Best case scenario. Those 2 cards will no longer save your opponent. All right? Best case scenario. So what ends up happening is the following. So let's say this is in here. Let's say you cold one out, right? So let's say you have a upstream. Where is an upstream I can use to show the combo? All right. You have an upstream, right? Whatever you have back here doesn't really matter. It's up to you. So upstream attacks. It's skill. End of battle. It bot decks itself. Send to the bottom of the deck. You call out your grade 1. So let's say this card was in the deck. Let's say this card was in the deck. You'd call it out. Okay? It doesn't really matter where you call it out. You can call it back here. It's fine. You call it out. You EB3. You then check top 5. Check top 5. Let's say you hit if you hit an upstream, cool. If you didn't, that's fine. You just put something else in there. You call a card out. Call out the upstream. All right? Shuffle the deck. Now, attacks again. Bot deck it. Bot deck it. Call out your other grade 1. Yay! EB3 again. Check top 5. Oh, we got an upstream. Cool. Call the upstream. Then this is where it gets kind of silly. So you put that in and call it up. Upstream attacks again with a boost. End of battle. Upstream goes to the bottom of your deck again. This is 3 attacks, by the way. We just did 3 attacks. You call another grade 1. Let's say you call this on top of the rested one. It doesn't really matter. You EB3 one more time, so now you'll have 1 energy. This card's effect, you'll check top 5. Let's shuffle the deck real quick from the unplay. Yeah, check top 5. Yeah, call a card from top 5. If you hit the upstream, you put a card from Soul, so I'll put that into Soul. If you hit the upstream, great. If you didn't, don't worry about it. Reasonably, do not stress. You can't even really use it anymore. But you do have GB, so you can call out this. You don't have to. You can call out practically anything else here. If you have one of these, you can call these out. So that's 3 upstream swings right there. That's 1, 2 to call it again, and then 3, right? Now, then you essentially just attack, card from drop into soul, Vanguard swings, you do your twin drive, you suck that up, you stand the Vanguard, swings again, boosted, all your triggers over here, last attack. So that's 3 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 7 attacks. And your opponent is under no heals, no OT. If you manage to sit on this for 2 turns, that's luck. Hopefully you can bind 2 more. If you can't, that's life. But that's it. That's kind of the combo. It's kind of rushed, but that's kind of how the combo works. You just gotta make sure this is in your deck. Make sure you see at least 2 Steam Breath, and you're kind of cooking. And that's it. Now that you've seen that shenanigans, have fun tormenting your friends by saying this is playable. It is. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is. You can definitely play this deck in public. I think it's funny. If you like this, please leave a comment. If you have a better idea for a deck, yeah, please put it in the comments. Other than that, see you later.